Welcome back, viewers. You are still tuned into Prime Live, and on Tuesdays we choose health and wellness. And to get us started on that health and wellness journey, we are looking forward to a conversation this evening with Qudsiyah Kassim, who is going to talk us through the importance of nutrition, particularly pediatric nutrition. Now, she is a registered dietitian, and she's going to be taking us through, yes, the importance of good nutrition for our little ones, but also how to stay nutritious as well as hydrated during these difficult summer months. So join us as we delve into an insightful conversation into delving into the importance of making sure our little ones are eating healthy, and also, they are picky eaters, so we want to also make them feel good about what they're eating as well. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us on Prime Live.
Walaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
It's such a privilege to be able to have a conversation with you this evening, and I'm really excited to delve into this because nutrition for young ones is something that is really, really important, but we haven't exactly delved into it as much. So can you take us through why you decided to become a pediatric, or why you decided to specialize in pediatric nutrition particularly?
I think just kids, because they're so cute and it's so much more easier to deal with. And I think just seeing the outcome, especially in the public sector, where I do work, you see a sick kid, and there's a lot of malnourished kids that you see. And when you see these kids a year later or a few months later, and the mom comes to you and they're well nourished and they're doing so well, and the mom thanks you, I think just seeing that, it just makes you feel like you've actually done something.
Absolutely. I mean, working with little ones is always very heartwarming as well as very rewarding as well. Now, we know that the summer months
Yes.
are here and they're here to stay, and it's been unbearably hot, particularly in the Gauteng region. Now, beyond drinking water, there are certain tips and tricks that you can share with us this evening in order to help kids stay hydrated. Can you share them with
Mhm.
us this evening?
Okay, so besides just water, your herbal teas would also count towards your total fluid intake for the day. And if you browse around at the shops, you get a lot of different flavored teas. Obviously, the natural ones, like you get a peach and apricot, or you'd get a berry flavored tea. So a good idea would maybe to make those into iced teas. So boil it, make it a tea, put ice in, put it in the fridge, and let your kid drink some of that, especially if they're not into plain water or if they don't like plain water. What you can also do is take those iced teas, put them into little ice molds, and make popsicles. And let your kitty suck on that throughout the day or on weekends, especially when it's really hot outside. Another thing would be to flavor your waters naturally with fruits. And yeah, there are quite a few ways to be able to do that besides just with water.
Thank you for sharing that. I know that our parents at home will be very, very grateful for these tips and tricks because toddlers, particularly the little ones, are very, very picky when it comes to what they eat and how they eat it. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that you shared tips and tricks that make food exciting. And of course, there's
Mm-hmm.
no kid on the planet that's going to say no to a little popsicle, and yet you're still keeping them hydrated. Now, in the spirit of also getting your kids to eat healthier, I know there's a lot of videos circulating on social media about young parents who are trying to hide vegetables in pastas and in chicken nuggets and things like that. What is your best advice to parents out there who are trying to incorporate healthier food into their kids' diets but are struggling to do so because kids only want to eat dino nuggets and popsicles and all the fun, exciting food that they're seeing on television?
So a good way, definitely hiding it into foods, blending, boiling your vegetables and then blending it and mixing it into your sauces or into your curries. So for example, taking butternut or cauliflower, boiling that, blending it and making it into a pasta sauce with some cheese. The child doesn't even know it's there. Cutting up some vegetables or grating it really finely if you have a very fussy kid, and putting that into a muffin mix and making some savory muffins. Um, Also, if your kid is younger, like toddlers, 2 or 3 years old, I would suggest putting those foods that they don't like or new foods together with familiar favorites. That way, it's on the plate. Also, another thing is it takes up to 7 to 8 exposures of a child to finally even want to put it in their mouth, and at least 20 exposures for them to actually accept it. So don't give up. The first time you try it, if someone had to put broccoli on my plate after just eating blended food for one whole year of my life, I'm going to look at it and I'm not going to want to eat it. But keep offering it, show them show them that the family eats it. If they have siblings, let the siblings eat it. Eat dinners together, have food together, and just keep offering it. Eventually, the child would be curious and be like, okay, let me actually try this, and then you'll see they might just eat it. But if you have a very fussy older child, a pre-scholar, then definitely hiding it into your foods is a better option.
Thank you for sharing that. I know our parents at home are really enjoying the conversation because it is often difficult to get your young ones to eat healthy, and you don't want them to be eating nuggets all day, every day. Absolutely. But when it comes to nutrition, what do you think is the most important things that parents need to bear in mind, or what are some of the most important food groups that parents need to make sure that they are incorporating into their children's diets?
All of them. Please. I've been seeing it a lot in my practice recently where mums are seeing that gluten's bad or lactose is bad, and they making their kids, or meat is bad or chicken's bad, and the kids are now vegetarians at the age of 3 or 4. It's not good. Incorporate all the food groups. Make sure that all 3 of your main meals have something from all food groups in it. Make sure the snacks in between have fruits and vegetables. Make sure there's fat on the plate in order to help the child's brain development. Make sure there's carbohydrates on the plate in order to give the child energy for their day. So every food group is important. If you do have an underweight child, definitely more protein in the diet. And yeah, all food groups are
I
important.
really like that you address that because we're very much in a social media culture where a lot of Gen Z parents are trying to get their children to be gluten free, or they're trying to get their kids to be, dairy free and things like that, because there's so much of misinformation on social media about how everything, if you stay long enough on social media, you won't eat anything because you'll realize that everything is bad for you, and you won't want to
Definitely.
eat, and you won't want to eat absolutely anything. And what I read about you is that you are, as much as you are a dietitian and you push for the idea of, healthy eating and nutrition, you are also a foodie at heart. And aren't we all? Because food can be such a joy, and it can be something exciting that can bring people together and hold so much of memories and creates
Definitely.
memories. But something you believe in is balance, and that's a difficult
Yes.
concept for someone to understand, that a dietitian would want to promote something like balance, because I think we are so conceptualized to think that dietitians only want us to eat our veggies and chicken every day, but that's not something that you promote. Can you talk to us more about how we can still be foodies and still love food and love to explore with food and still enjoy sugary sweet things, but also maintain a much needed sense of balance?
Well, look, if a certain food doesn't agree with you, or you're allergic to it, it gives you a bad reaction, or if you're intolerant to it, avoid it. By all means, avoid it. It's harmful to your health. But if you are just looking at social media and saying, "Oh, eating gluten-free is gonna make me less bloated. I'm not gonna eat gluten." No, that's not the way to go. The only reason you need to avoid a food is if it's harmful to your health. So I believe in balance: carbs, protein, fats, fruits, vegetables. Each of them has a different benefit for your body, for your health, for your mind. Like I said before, carbohydrates, a lot of people are so anti-carbohydrate, and they're probably going to be like, why is this dietitian saying eat carbohydrates? But honestly, the source of energy for your brain is glucose. And when you digest the starch, it breaks down into glucose, which is then feeding your brain. You need that for energy. You need it for daily functions. Protein, it's for muscle, to help you to lose weight. It's to help you to build muscle. Fats, brain development, especially in children. Fruits and vegetables, we know your vitamins, your minerals, your fiber. It's so important that you need to have a good balance of healthy whole foods. So I'm not saying go and eat a whole load of sugar or go and eat a bag of chips. No, you need to have your healthy fats, your like fish, things that contain omega, your butter, your margarine, your peanut butter, your avocados, your olive oils, healthy fats. Carbohydrates, healthy carbohydrates. Don't go for the muffins or the donuts or the bagels. Rather go for your potatoes, your sweet potato, your butternut. Your fruits are also counted as carbohydrates. Your fruits are starches. Instead of, for example, Kellogg's, go for all bran, So avoid the sugary things, go for whole foods and have a balance on your plate.
Thank you for sharing that. I think it's so intimidating to be able to approach healthy eating and a healthy lifestyle when you're clouded with information from social media. So thank you for making it so seemingly easy and efficient and simple for us to be able to understand, but also incorporate into our diets as well. But in closing, our conversation is, of course, centered around hydration. What is the most important thing when it comes to how parents are actually able to monitor their kids' hydration? If you could share that with us this evening.
Okay, I'm just going to quickly go back to your first question. I did forget to mention that fruit, especially now in summer, your watermelon, your melons are so full of water that can also keep your kid hydrated. You don't have to go for the fluids. You can just give them, cut a bowl of fruit, leave it outside if you're playing outside, if you're at the swimming pool, or just leave it in the house. When the kids pass, automatically you'll see they'll be eating these fruits. And then back to your last question, how can parents monitor? So there are a lot of signs. So you'll see that if your kid's lethargic or just doesn't have any energy, that would be a sign that your kid's going towards dehydration. Also, if you notice that the urine's darker than usual, if it's a dark orangey color, that's definitely dehydration. Headaches, dizziness, lethargy. Those are the things you need to look out for. Signs that your child is in worse dehydration, you'd look for a sunken fontanelle, you'd look for sunken eyes. Your kid would just look dehydrated, sunken in a way.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and thank you so much for your conversation today. I think we've learned so much from your conversation, and I know that parents will really appreciate the tips and the tricks that you have shared with us this evening. And we look forward to perhaps some further conversations on how we can improve health and nutrition for young children. So thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure. I hope to see you soon.
Viewers at home, that was all things health and nutrition, but when it comes to the little ones and being able to help them navigate nutrition and finding fun and creative ways to incorporate healthy foods into their diets. Parents out there, I do hope you enjoyed that conversation. But guys, it's been an absolutely amazing show, choosing health and wellness, and I particularly enjoyed this conversation because we got to talk about navigating healthy eating with young ones, which can be difficult for a lot of parents. But I think the parents out there this evening really learned some good tricks on how to keep them hydrated but keep them excited as well.